Remember, my Patreon supporters got to see previews and work-in-progress shots as I made this figure. If you want to join them, the link is in the description below. Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001 bringing you a commission for Ryanic. It is Lien-Da. Lien-Da. Linda. You know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I never really knew how to pronounce her name, so I'm just going to call her Lien for the rest of the video. That's, Da is kind of supposed to be her surname, but, yeah, Lien. I'm going to call her Lien, okay? So what can I say about Lien? Well, I can't really say much good about her. Because I seriously think that Lien was probably the most malignant character in the entire franchise. Like self-serving, greedy, conniving, murderous. She done some really horrible things. Let's get into it. She was born to the Grand Master of the Dark Legion back when they were still banished in the Twilight Zone, or whatever they called it back then. By around the age of 8, her mother had died from an ailment she got on a mission to, the regular Mobius world. This kind of scarred her and her twin brother Kragok, but that doesn't really excuse much of what they'll get into if, well, then you just gotta get into it. When they were about 16, their father married Julie Sue's mother. Funny thing, her name was Mary Sue. No wonder they killed her off screen. When they felt like personally affected when their father got remarried, because for some reason they thought that they were entitled to an opinion in the matter. Somebody should tell them that that's not how adult relationships work, but anyway, because of that, they shunned Julie Sue for her entire life. And then they not only did they kill Mary Sue, but they also killed their biological father. Kragok sabotaged the weapon that Lien used to kill her father. Oh yeah, she personally pulled the trigger to kill her father. Isn't that insane? The weapon backfired in her face as it killed her father, so she was left in a coma. By the time she recovered, her brother had taken command as the leader of the Dark Legion and made her second in command. Now, merely being the second in command when she was supposed to be co-ruler kind of, again, made her feel like she had been slighted. She never fully trusted her brother after that because she felt that he betrayed her. And hey, he kind of rigged the bomb to blow up in her face, so you can't really blame her, but she did so while in the commission of killing her own father, so you can kind of see where there's not much sympathy left for her, can you? One more thing, she also erased Julie Sue's memory so that she wouldn't remember that, that she was the daughter of the leader of the Dark Legion at one point, so she would never try to contest, rulership of the Dark Legion. I guess the closest thing to a good deed Lien ever did was when she was in command of the Dark Legion during the time that Knuckles was supposedly dead, before he resurrected himself. She was in command of half of the Dark Legion when it had split into the Fire and Frost Legions, and she was protecting Echidna refugees and the Master Emerald during the time when the Angel Island was occupied by the dingoes and all the echidnas were put onto concentration camps. Some uncomfortable subject matter there. Of course, this is all self-serving. She was just hoping that people would, she liked being in command and everybody looked up to her. So it's really, even when she did good, she did it just so she would feel better. Alright, so a big turning point came when Knuckles was turned into Enerjack and he took away all of the Dark Legion's cybernetics with his chaos powers. Desperate to have her power back, she formed an alliance with the Eggman Empire, where the Legion this was the first part of the Dark Egg Legion. Before the Egg Bosses and all the Legionized peoples from around the world, it was the Dark Legion serving under Dr. Eggman. That's where the name came from. Of course, Lien-Da participated in the Iron Legion's coup. When those ninjas came. And in perhaps the stupidest action that she had ever done in her long history of stupid and villainous actions, she actually tried to rebel against Regina when she got a swelled head about the fact that the detonators and the bombs in her cybernetics. Oh yeah, the cybernetics that Dr. Eggman gave to the Dark Legion were laced with bombs just in case they betrayed him. But since her detonators were suppressed by a microchip, she thought she'd be safe. But she was facing a techno-mage who can control technology through magic and could detonate the bombs just by her will. Lien-Da, you should have known that. You are stupid, and you got blown up for it. Now, I was actually kind of afraid that this would make Lien-Da turn into another hodgepodge cyborg like what Dimitri looked like at one point. I don't know, the fact that she was kind of hot was really the only thing that appealed her to me, because she was just such a terrible person, and I thought that if she was unattractive, nobody would, she wouldn't be able to command anybody because nobody would like her anymore. Fortunately, my fears were assuaged when Dr. Eggman took over her surgery. He managed to fully restore her physical appearance, although she did have more internal cybernetics, and from what I understand, at least a couple of new limbs. Of course, appealing to her vanity like this is the best way to call her loyalty, and she basically worked loyally with Eggman right up until the Super Genesis wave came. Well, not quite. She was banished to wherever the heck Thrash the Devil sent all the other echidnas when she went to conquer what was left of Albion, but, that's a storyline that got aborted because of the Super Genesis wave. And now that the comic itself is cancelled, we can only hope that maybe IDW would try to revive it in some way. But I doubt that that's something that's going to be possible, because Lien is one of those characters that Ken Penders is really going to fight to claim ownership of, because, she's an echidna that's not Tikal or Knuckles. But wait, there's more! Because Lien was actually a prominent figure in the 25 and 30 years later timeline that they did. This has come to be known as Light Mobius. It's an alternate future timeline where Knuckles used his chaos powers to defeat Dr. Eggman, everybody just kind of had jobs in the alternate timeline. Now, she had a son, Rutan, and despite how much of a controlling monster she is, she actually seemed to care about him. I kind of thought that maybe after 25 years of not having to worry about a war or geopolitical struggles, that she might actually have turned out to be a decent person. Of course, because that timeline was unstable because of what Knuckles did, King Sonic had to go and fix it, which resulted in the timeline changing so that Shadow was the king. And she had a technological band made that preserved her memories of the original timeline, so she knew what had happened, but she liked the new rule that Shadow had. And I am going to not discuss it too much, because I'm just going to start comparing it to Hitler's Germany, because holy crap, these people really are freaking like the SS from the Nazis. So let's not get into that anymore. After Sonic was able to become the king again, she actually was on the lam, and for some reason or another was unable to see her son again. Well, of course, because she was a criminal on the lam. She was basically a war criminal. So she freed Shadow from his confinement in a chaos control stasis, and when she found out that his plan was to release the demon spirit to chaos, Tikal combined with chaos, to destroy the world so that he could rebuild it in his image, she tried to convince him to not do that when he tore her band off, forcing her body to reintegrate into the current time stream. Does this mean that she ceased to exist? Does she still exist in this timeline, but she wouldn't have any memories of what Shadow was about to do and therefore die with everyone else? Don't really know. That's where her story ends. So yeah, that is the basic backstory of Lien-Da. Lien. Seriously, I still don't know how to pronounce that. Holy crap, 10 minutes in. Wow, well, yeah, she was around for hundreds of issues, so of course the backstory was going to be quite long. But let's get on to finally making the toy itself. The base figure is mostly Wave, but with Knuckles' head and tail. Now, there's a neat little trick about Knuckles' head. If you look, you can actually separate Knuckles' dreadlocks from his face. You just have to put it in boiling water so everything softens up, and it is held by a little bit of glue, but you should be able to tear everything apart without damaging it. This means that you can make modifications to Knuckles' muzzle or whatever, or paint the entirety of the dreads without having to worry about getting the face messed up. This is really helpful for customizing Knuckles, and I kind of wish that I knew that I could dismantle the figure this way sooner. But yeah, let's actually get to the remolding stuff. I started with the torso, cutting off Wave's tail and putting Knuckles' in its place, and then molding on Lien's bits. She has a belt around her waist, and she does have quite an ample bosom with a collar that's partially zippered up to display a little bit of echidna cleavage. Now, the head itself. Here's a preliminary build of the head with a new shorter muzzle for a more feminine face, and of course Lien's hair. I also used my 3D pen to put some of the little technical greeble on her cybernetic head dread. Now here's a close-up of the painting process for her head. As you can see, I took the face out so I could easily paint the muzzle and put her little bedroom eyes expression, because of course she's going to have that. And it, like I said, this makes it really easy to paint the face of the figure because, you know, like I don't have to worry about the paintbrush getting stuck under her brow. It also means that I can paint her cybernetic dreadlocks silver without getting anything on her cheeks, and putting all those bands on the rest of her dreads, which, trust me, was quite a pain in the butt having to paint them all. But once all that was on, it results in a head that, you know, looks pretty good and solid and doesn't have any stray paint going anywhere. This just taking the face out of the dreads to make what I like to call the Knuckles hat, it actually works pretty good. And I bet that you could like hollow out the inside of the dreads to like make a hat that you can put onto a human figure if you want to make like a humanized version of Knuckles, like someone dressed as him for a party. That would be fun. Instead of swapping out the arms or legs, I figured that I could just modify Wave's legs a little bit to, you know, match her look. For one thing, instead of having flared pants that go down below her shoes, I just cut the flare off so the shoe terminates right where it meets the boot, and then using sculpt and paint, I actually create the image of Lien's knee-high boots just like this, putting the straps in to fill in some thin spots. And the way that the pants kind of come off, it looks like the wrinkle around her ankle, so it still works. The arms also still work. All I had to do was cut the ring off from her glove cuff, and it actually just looks like the big old folded glove cuffs that Lien's costume has. So with the head stuck back on, you can see that Lien has no brain in there. Yeah, I stuck the head back on because I figured it would be easier to do it this way, because I was afraid that I might accidentally scratch the paint on the inside of her dreads, so I figured let's reattach the head this way and then glue the dreads on top of that. So let's glue her dreads on and see the completed Lien-Da figure. And there she is. You know, real talk, I wanted to make a Lien-Da figure years ago. Like, I actually mentioned it to the cast and crew who were making the comic book at, like, my first Comic-Con. At the time, the Wave figure hadn't been made yet, so I was waiting for Jazzwares to release a proper female buck, which at the time I remember hoping was going to be Rouge. But by the time Wave finally came out, I had so many other projects, I ended up tabling Lien-Da and never got around to it. So thank you, Ryanic. Your commission finally got me to make a figure that I intended to make years ago, but essentially forgot about. So I really hope you guys like this figure, and I thank you all for sitting here for nearly 15 minutes as I fleshed out the character's backstory, because I really felt that she deserved it, because she's done so much for the comic, you know? Alright, so this is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.